My internet is being sketchy. All right, we are live, people. All right, I wasn't sure if it was ever gonna go because my internet's a little sketchy, but we are here with one of the great minds in the Green Bay Packers media, I guess you could say. Now you're credentialed. Like Andy Herman is joining me live over here. So you got credentialed. When did this happen? Because like actually, before we get into that, a friend of mine at work listens to Pack-A-Day podcasts religiously. Like he's a supervisor, so he has an office and all that. I go in there and he's always listening to Pack-A-Day podcasts.
That's
and I was like, yeah, so I was like, yo, I have a podcast. I podcast too. And he's like, yeah, I know. And I was, but he listens to like every, like, so for the people who are watching, I have a banner here for you, especially for you. Pack-A-Day podcast. You guys do a podcast every single day. Like, let's get it. No, but Pack-A-Day podcast. You guys do a podcast every single day. He listens every single day. But how did this start? Because before we get into like all the football stuff, I want to know, because I think it's a genius idea because you have so many good people that jump in on the contributors or whatever.
Well, thank you.
How did this start?
Oh, this is a really good story. So I kind of had this idea in the back of my head that I should do a podcast. And the other idea on the other side of my head was I did not want to do a podcast at all, like even a little bit. But it was kind of nagging at me. And as I've kind of mentioned on other, podcasts and my own as well, like if I don't just go and do something, if I don't just start it, I will never do it. So because I'm very lazy by nature. Anyway, so I had been trying to think of like a podcast name. And if I thought of something, I'm like, all right, maybe I'll put something together. So my idea in my head was I listened to the New York Times show, The Daily, quite often. And it's, if you're not familiar, it's a daily news episode by the New York Times where they go over a different topic every single day. And my thought in my head was, I think there's enough thirst for that in Packers Nation. And my idea originally was, let's do one episode Monday through Friday. I'll be Monday. I'll get one person to do Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So 5 of us total. We'd each be in charge of our show, and we do it 5 days a week, similar to what The Daily does. And then I don't know if you remember this god awful commercial where there's like it's a smoking ban commercial, like smoking cessation commercial, where they're trying to stop people from smoking. And there's this lady who's like climbing up a mountain of cigarettes, and they're like, Linda smokes 20 packs a day. And it's like I don't know what I was watching at the time, but it played over and over and over. And like to the point where like packs a day was just like ingrained in my head. And I'm like, pack a day. The Pack-A-Day podcast, a daily podcast. And it just clicked. And like within 5 minutes of like me having that, I literally posted a message on Twitter. I'm starting a daily Packers podcast. Would anyone like to join? And to make a long story short, I expected maybe like, I don't know, 4 people to like reach out to me and like me have to like wrestle other people to try to do this. I also assumed that once I put it together, I would ultimately be filling in for people because they wouldn't do it. And I'd end up basically doing 5 days a week. Ultimately, I ended up with like 200 applications and having to sort through things, and ended up with just the most insanely phenomenal group of people that you could possibly imagine. Ended up doing it 7 days a week because I had enough people to do so. We launched it, and the rest has been history. Now we're, I think, 910 episodes in and haven't missed a day. So that's a really long answer to, I'm sure, a question you wanted a shorter answer to.
No, it actually, because I was always curious because like She Said TV and Pack-A-Day podcast, and there's a few others, were like what started the whole anybody can do a podcast thing. Like, and I don't want to say anybody because it's not like you guys are all chumps or whatever.
If we can do it, anyone can do it. Yeah, it's a true story.
No, but like I always said it's because She Said TV was like the first one that I saw, like a fan doing, like a fan, yep. And then they had video and everything, and that was before I barely had a smartphone, and so like I don't know. It's cool because I never imagined that I would be having a podcast. Like when I was watching all you guys start your stuff, like I was like, oh, that's cool. Like they just do their own thing and they're like just fans and all that. And now people for some reason tune into my stuff. But
dude, I know the story. I know the story very, very well. The same thing for me.
Yeah. So you're credentialed now. So you're like a real like ass reporter. Like you're like.
Yeah. So yes and no, right? So I think a lot of people don't realize I have a full day job that I do every single day, 9 to 5. I'm a I basically do recruiting nationwide. I also have a team of people that reports to me. I do a variety of that stuff. So that's my day job. Obviously, I have 2 kids, a wife, a family. And then, oh, by the way, run a 365-day-a-year podcast, do writing for Packer Report, do a new video every day. So the time is not all there. But, Ross Uglum took over at Packer Report after Bill Huber left for SI. Ross does a variety of other things, North Dakota State, I think Kansas State, he does some work with as well, and realized that he couldn't just be a one-man band running Packer Report like Bill was. And also obviously Ross isn't in the Green Bay area to do a lot of the media and the practices and things like that. So Ross reached out to me and said, hey, would you like to be, come on, be editor and, be the one that's credentialed and, go to games and be in the media sessions and things like that. So I'm like, yeah. So that's kind of how that started. I'm very cognizant of the fact, the Domovskis and the Schneidmans and the Wildies and those guys. I mean, and Ryan Wood, like those guys have sources and are on the ground reporting and are at practice every day. And I always want to give those guys credit first because they are there every single day reporting on stuff. And I'm not. I would love to be there every day. I would love to be in every media session. And frankly, just with the schedule I have, it's not feasible for me to do that. But yes, I am credentialed. I am able to attend, obviously, the media sessions, ask Matt LaFleur for his game plan every week and do some of that. So it's been amazing.
No, I think it's all. I think the Packers have some of the best people reporting on the Packers and just talking about the Packers. Like besides me, but like there's like so many people that are just talking about the Packers. And all right. No, but like back to like real quick, and then I want to talk to you about the Rams, and then we'll get on to the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
My friend, he's actually supervisor at my work. I got to go into work early today because I was working for him today, and I said, "Hey, I need to go into work early because I got a podcast." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." I was like, "Andy Herman's coming on," because I know he listens to you. Like he listens to Pack a Day podcast. That's his shit. And then he was like, "Oh, really?" He's like, "You should ask him about." He's like, I listen to this dude every week. He's like, I don't miss a show. And I know because I really he listened to it 1.5 times the speed, which is weird because he wants to listen to so many podcasts. Not mine, but other people's. But your food takes, he's not a fan of.
Nobody's a fan of my food takes, Matt. Literally
I listen to every show that he does, but his food takes on Thanksgiving almost made me just quit. But
this is a true story. I legitimately lost followers when I posted my Thanksgiving food takes. Like there was probably like 10 to 15 people who like, it was just like an immediate unfollow. And I'm like, imagine having food takes that bad that somebody at one point is like, this guy knows what he's talking about the Packers. I'm going to follow him. And then is like, you know what? He knows so little about food. I am completely out. I'm unfollowing him. And took the time. My food takes were so bad. They took the time out of their day to specifically unfollow me. And I'm like, I'm never going to listen to that guy.
I will never listen to that shit again. No, because I'm very similar. We'll get onto the Packers. I know a lot of people are leaving as we talk about this, but like my food takes are like, I don't really talk about food a lot, but like I'm a very picky eater. I eat a lot of macaroni and cheese, quick shit macaroni and cheese. By the way, very legit. Anyone in the Green Bay area, dude, I scuff that down. But anyways, I want to get onto the Rams and then we'll talk a little bit about the Buccaneers, obviously. Sure. But the Rams, because I talk a lot of shit on the internet.
No.
So I talked a lot. I think I talked more smack about, because the thing is, I don't go into a week thinking I'm going to talk smack unless it's like a team that I know they can roll. But I get pissed off when people talk bad about the Packers and they're like, oh, that defense was so big and bad. They were going to do this and that. So then I started to get mad and I was like, no, they're not. I didn't believe that was going to be the thing. I think the Packers are the number one offense. They're going against the number one defense. Like I was almost like insulted, like someone was talking about my sister. I was like, dude, like this offense is legit. Devonta Adams isn't getting shut down. Obviously got slowed down. Like that was probably his biggest competition of the year. But he got a touchdown. And I know people like I'm not like a watch film guy. People are like, well, he was in zone. Like I don't know. Maybe I could ask you that. So I don't know. You don't know me, might know either. But I definitely don't know what he was doing. But I know that he got a touchdown. And if you're that great, like Ramsey is. I'm not saying he's not. Yep. But like I just wasn't buying it. So like, what did the Packers do to be able to like? They had a record-breaking day against the number one defense during the playoffs. So what did they do to just flourish like that?
They ran their offense. It was beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's basically kind of what you were saying, right? Like it's an offense that works, and it's worked pretty much all season long. They've had, the Tampa Bay game. We're about to find out if it was an anomaly or not. I tend to think that it was. The Panthers held them a little bit because Green Bay got away from the run in the second half. But by and large, this is a team that's putting up 30 week in and week out. Doesn't matter if you've got a Khalil Mack and Aaron Donald, even if he was banged up. It doesn't matter if you're the number one defense. Green Bay has the ability to put up points and score on anyone. And this offense is just beautiful to watch. I think the number one thing that I pointed out, Baldinger pointed it out today as well, is how Green Bay was able to get 5-on-5s with the running game against the Rams front. And it's the thing that I love about LaFleur is he has an answer for absolutely everything. So you're going to go man, he has man beaters for days. You go zone, he knows how to beat zone. You're going to keep two safeties high, he's going to be able to run the ball against you. You keep a safety in, he's going to throw it deep to Devontae and MVS and everyone else and their mother. So I just love that he has answers for everything. And in this game, we saw some of that two running back set, right, with A.J. Dillon and Aaron Jones. And you had usually two players out wide, one to the other side. Jones goes in motion. There's three out, one there, two safeties deep, and you're playing 5-on-5 at the line of scrimmage. And remember, this is A.J. Dillon, who saw like more 8- and 9-man boxes than anyone in the history of football at Boston College. He's not looking at the line and seeing 5 guys in the box. And, he can fall forward for like 3 yards without even trying in those situations. So, and he was able to get 9 yards, 5 yards, 6 yards. And I thought that was super impressive. But for the most part, the thing that I loved is they just stayed. I think the crazy thing is they played the number one defense, put up 450 yards of total offense, 30 plus points, and they left a ton of meat on the bone still. Like if Rodgers hits the deep ball to MVS, that's more points. If he hits Devontae Adams on the double move where he's going in stride right before halftime, I think Devontae scores a touchdown on that play. And we're not talking about Devontae being slowed down or shut down. We're talking about him having another 100-yard game and 2 touchdowns. There's the drop by Allen Lazard. There were a couple other plays on the opening field goal drive where Rodgers and his receiver were just a hair off, the one that flies off of MVS's fingertips. Like there's legitimately like high 40s points available to Green Bay in that game if they were just a tad sharper. And I think that's got to be just so insanely scary for any defense moving forward.
Yes. That's the thing, like with the Bucs, like I got a lot of Bucs fans because when you talk shit like I do, like fans just chirp up. And it's not just the Bucs fans, the Patriots fans, it's Brady fans.
And you got some in the chat here, I think.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I think I was just looking at that. No, because that's what it is. Because I'm personally on Facebook, I talk so much shit because I go on the NFL page and ESPN, so I get a lot of people that follow my page who hate me. they hate. So when I go live, they'll jump in. But like, how does this defense rank to you? Like this Bucs defense versus the Rams? Because that's just a question I want to know. Because I know the Rams defense was ranked number 1. I don't know where the Bucs rank. I don't know where the Packers rank. I know the Packers are like I think top 10, like going into the playoffs. Like they were like 8 or 9. But so how does this Bucs? Because I know that they're good at taking the ball away.
Yeah, I honestly don't know where they're at. I'd be shocked if they're not in the top 10. All I know is this: Todd Bowles is one hell of a defensive coordinator, and he's going to provide enough challenge in and of himself for Green Bay this weekend. And just what they're able to do, if Vita Vea is able to play and play at a high level, that's another element that Green Bay is going to have to deal with. But you just look, they don't have a ton of weaknesses. I mean, Antoine Winfield's playing really well in that safety role. You've got Carlton Davis, who's been fantastic at corner for them. Levante David and Devin White, one of the best linebacking duos in all of football. I mean, Levante David should be, in my opinion, maybe first ballot is strong, but he is a Hall of Famer and maybe close to a first ballot Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Just never got the credit because Tampa's been terrible for so long. That dude is just such a phenomenal football player still up until today. And then you got Jason Pierre-Paul, Shaq Barrett on the outside, and Ndamukong Suh. McClendon doesn't get the credit that he deserves. Nunez Roches doesn't get the credit he deserves. They're just a bunch of grinders up front. So they take away the run. You saw that. I think Aaron Jones had like 15 yards in the last game on like 10 carries, if I remember correctly. They stopped the run. They're aggressive on your wide receivers. You saw the two plays that were targeted to Devontae Adams, tight coverage, both end up interceptions in that Tampa Bay game. So, and they blitzed Green Bay really creativity in that regards. And I think it was Ben Fennell who posted that Rodgers hasn't been sacked on a blitz since that game, which is insanely impressive. So, they've baked in some things to make sure that doesn't happen again. This isn't going to be the same outcome. Green Bay is going to put up some serious points in this game, but there's definitely challenges that Tampa Bay is going to provide defensively.
Yeah, so you mentioned that it won't be the same outcome because Rodgers mentioned it on the Pat McAfee show. And I was saying it, like, I said it this morning. Actually, Bleacher Report DM'd me or like messaged me and said, can we use your video? And NFL Films actually asked for my email address. I think they want to use my video, which they had before for like some TV show they have, which I think is awesome. Dude, I love that. It's because like shit talking, actually, people want to hear it. But I don't know. I forgot what I was saying. But
defense, it's not going to be the same Pat McAfee show.
Oh yeah. It's not going to be the same game. Like, dude, like the Saints beat up on the Bucks. I think it was 38-3 earlier in the season. They swept them. I think the second game was closer. But like, this isn't the same team. Like Rodgers said, like some teams get better, some teams get worse. Very rarely are they the same. Like I just think that I just want the team to see that because like I know that last year in the Niners game, which I don't like to talk about last year. Everyone wants to talk about the NFC Championship game against the Niners, but that Niners team last year was good. Everyone knew they were good. Like no one I wasn't talking a lot of shit before that game because like I knew the Niners, that would have been a really tough win. Like the Packers had to play a really good game because the Niners were just really hot, and I feel like the Packers are similar to that Niners team last year. Is like we're just coming in hot. Defense is playing. I don't think the Packers defense gets a lot of credit that they deserve. And so what? How do you feel? Like, how confident are you? Like in this game? I haven't heard like your pick or like how you think.
Oh, that's the $1 million question, right? I mean, I think this is just a phenomenal matchup. And let's be fair, either of these teams can absolutely win this game. I think Green Bay is the slightly better team. I know Tampa Bay beat them up pretty bad their earlier matchup. That's in Tampa, obviously in warmer weather. This is going to be a hell of a lot colder. I don't know how much that actually plays into the game, but I have a feeling that turf might be a little bit longer this week, making sure that Jason Pierre-Paul and Shaq Barrett aren't, exploding off the edges quite as quickly. Green Bay is always well prepared and just knows the right length of cleats. We've seen other teams come in and kind of be slipping around and not exactly know how to handle that. So really like how this ultimately stacks up for Green Bay. I think Green Bay's playing the right brand of football at the right time. Their defense is playing much better. The offense is playing great. I'm watching that Saints Bucks game, and I know Bucks ended up putting 30 up against the Saints, which is a really good defense in and of itself. The offense for Tampa just looked antiquated in comparison to Green Bay's offense and and how many different things that Green Bay can throw at you. At the same token, Mike Pettine's defense is daring you to kind of dink and dunk your way down the field, play bend but don't break. There's literally no better quarterback in the history of the football to play that brand of football than Tom Brady, who is, obviously he's arguably the greatest of all time, period. But just taking underneath stuff and taking what's given to him, he feasts upon that. He doesn't need to throw the ball downfield a ton. He's just going to take what you give him. And that's also what Green Bay's defense likes to do. So I think that's troubling. If you're a Packer fan, is that how is that defense going to combat that? Your strength is Kenny Clark, Za'Darius Smith, and some of those guys inside. But Brady gets rid of the ball so quickly, and guys like Tristan Wirfs and Ryan Jensen are playing just tremendous football for them. Ali Marpet. So Tampa Bay has some advantages. There's going to be some serious points in this game. I think Green Bay is going to struggle slowing Tampa. But I think Green Bay has the ability to win this game. But Matt, I think this is a pretty close coin flip.
Oh yeah, because I was talking smack today, mostly because people were talking smack to me and I was talking smack back. But it's not no disrespect against Tom Brady, because everyone knows what Tom Brady is. Tom Brady in the playoffs, Tom Brady down 28-3 and all those, those you could talk a lot of stories. Tom Brady, I'm not shitting on Tom Brady. First of all, I actually like Tom Brady. I don't. A lot of Packer fans hate him. I really don't. He seems like a nice guy to me. I could probably have a beer with him, but he probably wouldn't want to. But no, but like, yeah, Tom Brady is going to do his thing. I think this defense will have their hands full, but I think this defense doesn't get the credit that they deserve. Like in the last 6 weeks before the season, I saw the stats where like the Rams being the number one defense, where they were like comparable. Like obviously they play different teams and all those things, but like I think this defense, they're going to have their hands full. But I think that they can do it. And this Packers offense, like I just don't. I think Aaron Rodgers seems like he's on a mission. Let me ask you this: what have we learned from Aaron Rodgers this year from the Pat McAfee show? Because I know that you've been tweeting about. So obviously, everyone's watching. Yep. I just watched it as I was preparing for this. I was drinking a few beers, obviously, and watching the Pat McAfee show. So what have we learned, if anything, from Aaron Rodgers from the Pat McAfee show?
Oh, I don't know exactly what we've learned, but I've learned that it's just one of the best pieces of content, in whether you're talking about radio, podcast, TV, whatever you want to clarify it as, I don't care. It is as good as it gets. And first of all, Pat is as charismatic and as entertaining of a host as you could possibly have. You get this amazing blend of humor. I mean, there's no way that you don't bust out laughing at something that they say or do every single show. You get this captivating storytelling from Rodgers and some of the things that have happened over the years. And it's, anytime you pull back that curtain, right? Because we all watch the game on Sunday and we see what's happening. And then when Rodgers opens up that door and pulls back the curtain and shows some of the behind the scenes, it's legitimately like getting to see, the wizard behind the Wizard of Oz or whatever. Like, it's amazing. And, so you have that. And then you toss in, like, he'll throw in some like just insane X's and O's talk. Like he's talking, to, some like Bill Belichick or something. But, so we get to see, the hardcore football fan gets to hear some of the X's and O's and what he's thinking on individual plays. You get to see his true, in my opinion, his true person. I obviously don't know, I don't know what Aaron Rodgers is really like, but it feels like his authentic, true personality really shows through, because you can tell there's a friendship there, and you can tell that Pat and that entire group and Ty get the most out of him, and just there, it's just natural, right? So I don't know that I can point to any one specific thing and say this is what we learned, but I just hope it happens for forever. I hope it keeps going after he's retired. I hope those guys talk every single Tuesday. I hope it extends to like an hour, and just because it's as captivating and as good as anything that's on any content right now, period.
Yeah, because like I was watching today, and like I watch most weeks. Like I try to watch every week, but sometimes like I forget, and I'll end up watching it like back to back. So like it doesn't even make sense. Like, oh yeah, they're talking about that game, but but like just like how Rodgers feels so like happy, and he's almost like philosophical. Like I was watching today, like, and he was just talking about like being at peace and all that. And like young people might not get it, but as an old prick myself, I was like, I get what he's saying. And he was talking about that, how like the young people might not get it, but like I get it. Like he's just talking about like it doesn't matter wins or losses, because he's like it's not because it's winning, it's just because like he learned like you got to be at peace with yourself. And dude, Pat McAfee, first of all, is like I watch him because I'm trying to do my shit. And like I'm like, dude, this guy, like, it's got to be like a college quarterback watching Aaron Rodgers, and they're like just watching film. But like I watch Pat McAfee, like, damn, like that is so good. Like not even at the Rodgers parts, because like obviously that's ridiculous. But just watching Pat McAfee do his thing, like you make podcasts, you make videos, you do all these things, and you just watch someone. Not even Pat McAfee, but a lot of people. But Pat McAfee is just like, damn, he's so good.
I mean, it's not fair that somebody can be that talented. Like you're an NFL player, you're in insane shape. He jumps in a wrestling ring in NXT with Adam Cole and just puts on an absolute show. Like the insane. First of all, any celebrity that goes into a wrestling ring is immediately hated by wrestling fans, because they're like, you don't know what the hell you're doing. You don't know what the hell you're talking about. The fact he can get in a wrestling ring and make wrestling fans respect the hell out of him is insane. Like he starts his own show, and it's the must watch, podcast or video cast, whatever you want to call it, on anywhere. It's insane how talented the guy is. Also, by the way, like did announcing in for Fox for a little bit, was successful with that. Did some college football, I think. Did some wrestling announcing. Like the amount that guy can do and pull off, and it's mind blowing, and it's disgusting, and it's not fair, and I'm not jealous at all.
Dude, I'm telling you, dude. I try to learn from him. I know that I want to get you out of here at a decent amount of time, but I want to get to some of these questions. I asked people to text in some questions. Sure. I got a few here. Okay, the first one from Joey the Jaguar.
Love Joey.
You know him. He says, Joey the Jaguar here was wondering what Andy thinks the Packers can do to accolade other resources to handle Tampa's front, such as moving over a tight end. Also ask him about his beef with Peter Bukowski. Thanks. Great question, Joey. The Underage Packers podcast, a must listen.
Absolutely, it is a very, very good show. So I think to answer the first part of the question, I think Green Bay needs to come out and just be themselves. And I said the same thing against the Rams, and I feel the same way this week. Be yourselves. Go out, do what you do best. Have a plan in place if things start going to shit, and you're not running things the way that you want to, and then have a counter for it. And then if you need to keep in a Mercedes Lewis, if you need to keep in Jamal Williams, by the way, had the most insane, run blitz pickup. I was so pissed because the all 22 does, like, they always do a great job of capturing everything. And like, it's just out of the frame enough where it's like, it's not worth posting it. But like, he goes out to block like an edge rusher, and like, he legitimately like offensive tackles the whole thing. Like the offensive tackle is like waiting for him to like need to help Jamal Williams on the play. And Jamal Williams is like, no, I got this.
I'm good. I got it.
Yeah, no, exactly. So like, I think you might see him a little bit more in the backfield if they start to have some success with blitzing and things like that. Could be a bigger Jamal Williams game in that regards. But I think Green Bay needs to run their offense. And then as far as goes, obviously Peter's great, which I'll say, gritting my teeth, but I think everyone can agree Pack-A-Day much, much better than Locked On Packers podcast. I think everyone knows, I have more followers than Peter, obviously much better looking than Peter, have better food taste than Peter. So, I mean, it's a simple rivalry, but one that I think I'm winning pretty decisively.
Yeah. Your food takes, dude, I'm with you, bro. Everyone that I know tells me I eat like a toddler. I eat pizza rolls. I eat, if they sell it at Quick Trip, I'm going to eat that shit. All right. But, so
I hear you.
I got a question here that I want to get to.
Yeah, if we can go longer too, Matt, you're all good.
All right. Any news on the Dillon injury?
Matt LaFleur answered about it, but he was kind of nondescript. He basically said, we'll see what happens on Wednesday was his answer. He did end with saying, we're hopeful that he's going to be able to go, or something to that regard, to that effect. I actually more took it of like, he actually didn't know, and he's hopeful that he's going to be able to go, rather than him telling us, well, we're hopeful that he's going to be able to go. But we'll see what happens. Ultimately, I think if you're down to Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams, just those two, I think you'll be totally fine in this game still. And like I said, with Tampa Bay's ability to blitz from any angle at any time, I would actually expect them to go with the players that they rely upon in those situations a bit more in Aaron Jones and Jamal Williams anyway. So it's not to say I don't want him to be healthy, but I'm not exactly sure how much A.J. Dillon would factor into this game plan anyway.
Yeah, I think that Matt LaFleur he seems to me like he's quiet. He's kind of like Belichick in that way. Like, I'll tell you what you need to know. You don't need to know everything.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at these comments, and here's my mom. She's proud of me. Hey, what's up? Shout out to my mom. No, but we'll
That's
get. Awesome. Hey, my mom's tuning in. No, but I got one here from who is your under the radar game changer for the Packers this Sunday? This is from Green Bay Packers Daily.
I haven't like put this into thought yet, so I'm kind of put on the spot in this one, which is not a bad thing. I think it has to be in some capacity, the Kevin Kings and the Shannon Sullivans and this Packers defensive backfield. I think those guys need to have a really big game. And I think, you look at just Antonio Brown and Miller and Johnson and Godwin and Evans and that entire crew. I'd expect Green Bay to go some man, but I expect a lot of zone too. I don't think you want to necessarily get Shannon Sullivan man on man with Antonio Brown a ton in this game. I expect Darnell Savage to do a lot of his robber role and kind of cheating up front and trying to see if he can't get into some of those throwing lanes that Tom Brady likes to use a little bit more. But I and Shannon Sullivan have to have their best games. And we've seen it from both of them at times, right? I know everyone likes to often pick on Kevin King, and who's had some struggles at times, right? But he's also had some bangers at corner as well. We need him to have a banger this week. And Shannon Sullivan, same thing. He's had his ups and downs this season. Thought he was great last season, started the season great, had that pick 6. I thought he struggled in the middle of the season, kind of lost his confidence a bit, has been playing better as of late. Those two have to show up huge in this game.
Yeah, I think that like everything. I don't even know how to like add on to that because like I was saying that earlier because I was talking to my wife. I was watching you and Nagler talk, and I was like, I'm watching because I was like, I'm gonna research to see what he's talking about because I don't get a lot of chances to watch a lot of videos or podcasts or whatever. I mean, I do when I can because Peck and A podcast is a must. But like I don't get, so I was like watching. I was like, "Yo, I'm not on that level." You guys, you guys do great.
Yeah, and same with you, man. You're doing amazing work, and and I think I've told you this in the past. I mean, if I try to go out and be Nagler or Wilde or Domovsky, right, it's going to come off fake and just it's not genuine. Like I have to be myself, and I have to own my bad food takes, and and do that sort of thing. And same thing with you, like. You've got a brand that there's no way in hell that I could pull off. If I got buzzed and went on a microphone and started spewing shit at opposing teams, like everyone would just be like, who the hell is this guy? It just wouldn't work because that's not who I am. And like, if everyone were the same and doing the same sort of things, it wouldn't be that entertaining for Packer fans. And as you were pointing out so appropriately moving forward, the Packer fan base is the most blessed fan base in the world is because there are a million different avenues, whether you want a daily podcast, whether you want a once a week podcast, once a month, whether you want more of just a fan talk, right? Whether you want somebody that's going to analyze the tape, whether you want a reporter that's there every day at practice, like you can pick and choose, like a Ben Fennell, who's just the greatest in the world at breaking down film. Like you can pick and choose what stuff that you want to, digest. And you are a huge part of that and what you're doing and bringing that side of things as well. So it's awesome, man. I appreciate what you're doing. No,
I really appreciate it, especially coming from you. No, because I think that's totally true. Like, so how many times do you watch a game? Because I've seen a lot of guys who like break down tape, like people who really know what they're talking about. Because like I'm not one of those guys. Like I mostly talk shit. Like I know, but I don't know like as much as like you guys. I'm not even shitting on myself there. But like how many times do you watch a Packers game to like? Because you grade players, right? Like you grade like every damn player. Like you know so much. How many times do you watch every game?
Yeah, so here's my normal process. So obviously I watch the game live and I try to still have some enjoyment. I still have enjoyment of it as a fan and watching it as a fan. I can no longer completely turn like the analysts off and stop thinking about that sort of thing. But I'm still watching it as much as possible as a fan in that moment. And then I usually start kind of putting together my recap. And usually Sunday nights are days that I do the audio podcast. So I'm doing my audio podcast. I'm doing my video podcast. I'm doing post-game press conferences with LaFleur. I'm writing up my article for Packer Report the next morning. So I'm doing all of that. Now we're at like 2 a.m, right? And then usually from there, I usually watch the condensed version on Game Pass. So it's usually about 35-40 minutes to watch the full thing back on the condensed version. So I want to watch that back either late Sunday night or early Monday morning, assuming it's a Sunday game. So that when I, go on radio or talk to Nagler, that I have been able to watch it again with, a little bit more of an analytical eye. And then when the All 22 comes out on Monday, I'll watch on Monday and I'll go through and every single play one at a time, watch every single player on that play, run it through and make sure that I've given a grade to everyone on that play. And I usually do that first for whatever group had the least snaps, just because it gives me some momentum. And just in case something crazy happens and like I get sick or something, at least I can get one of those done and I can put the other one off till later in the week if need be. But so whatever group has had less snaps, I'll start with them first. And then on Tuesday night, we'll usually go. So as soon as we're done here, I'm going to dig into the defense's film in a little bit greater detail and give all those grades. I think I'm 14 plays in so far. I've got another about 38 to go, somewhere around there. So I'll do that tonight and then post my grades later this week and then go on to Tampa.
So like, someone actually asked this question. I wasn't going to ask it, but now I'm kind of interested. So
yeah.
Brought up the grades. Do players or coaches or anyone ever give you grief? Like if you give a bad grade, or because I know that obviously they talk to you. Did anyone be like, yo, what the hell? I deserved a little more than that.
I haven't yet. I had Josh Jones reach out to me once. I wrote an article about how I thought they should use Josh Jones within the defense. And he reached out to me and is like, hell yeah, you know what you're talking about. That's exactly how I should be used. And it obviously things went to shit after that with Josh Jones. He ended up out of town. And even at the time I wanted to be like, Josh, you should probably listen to your coaches and not me. They probably know a little bit more what they're talking about than what I do. But I had that happen. And then Casey Hayward, this was a long time ago. So when he was moved, when I forget who they lost at corner, but it looked like Casey Hayward was going to have to move to outside corner. This is well before I even wrote for Cheese TV. I think I was writing for Titletown Sound Off at the time. I wrote an article of like whether or not, and I probably had like, I don't know, 800 followers or something at the time. I wrote an article of like, can Casey Hayward hang on the outside? And one of the things that I wrote about, and there was a ton of stuff that I wrote like glowingly about him, but I wrote about whether or not he had the speed to play on the outside. And he just like messages me on Twitter and he's like, oh, right, I don't have the speed, with like crying emojis and like, giving me shit for like, and of course, then he goes to the Chargers and plays on the outside and it's like an all pro player after.
I'm surprised he didn't message you back like, see?
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, I think he probably quickly forgot about me and never, listened to anything I had to say again. But so I've had a couple of those moments, but nothing too egregious that come up. I think maybe thankfully for me, the articles for Packer Report are behind a paywall. So I don't know how many Packers are paying to, see my grades every week. Maybe, before when they were on Cheesehead TV, they were obviously accessible to everyone at any time. But again, I had less of a following. I don't know that the Packers knew who I was at the time. So maybe I'm just lucky that, they're not willing to pay Packer Report to see my grades, which everyone else should do, by the way, because they're awesome.
Oh, yeah, they definitely should. I remember waking up like a month ago, like 3 a.m, and seeing your face on my TV. Like I could hear you, and I was like kind of half awake, and I could hear you talking about the Packers, and I was like, is that freaking Andy Herman? Because I watch your YouTube videos, and I woke up and I was like, there you were. You're on my TV. 3 a.m. It wasn't an info commercial. It was you breaking on the pack. So like, what show is that? Packer Report that's on TV?
No, that's Green Bay Nation. I'm assuming.
Oh yeah. That's what it is.
Yeah, so WFRV, we do a weekly show. It's usually Marcus Eversole and I. Missed last week because I had a sore throat and just didn't want to endanger anyone. I knew it wasn't COVID, but I just wanted to be transparent and say, hey, just in case. And thankfully, Schneidman was able to fill in for me. And no, I'll be back this week. And no, that's another crazy opportunity. So it's so crazy to me. Like, I think today I was on the radio in Kansas. Yesterday I was on in Boston. I was on in Hawaii twice last week. Like, just the stuff that has happened. I did a TV hit for like the Madison area this week. Like all this stuff is just beyond insane to me. And it's easy. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's not like it's that big of a deal. It's still small potatoes in comparison to everything else, but it's still super crazy to me that, again, I've been able to have this platform and talk Packers with anyone, period.
No, dude, I think it's awesome because even the stuff I get to do, like I'm getting close to having a really cool sponsor to my show and to my podcast.
Nice.
And like, dude, like Pat McAfee had me on his show, like not literally, but he played my clip on his show, and I about died. Like I went to work and people were like, "You were on the Pat McAfee show," and I was like, "Yeah, whatever, no big deal." But like,
big deal.
I was on I forget what the show's called now, but it was on Amazon. It's an NFL show, like NFL Network kind of branch off, I think it is. NFL Films like DM me and said, "Hey, can we use this for our show?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they actually DM me today and said, "It's us again. Can you just give us your email address?" But mostly it's because my rant videos, because I rant and they're.
That's great though. I mean, that's amazing. Like, it's still, again, that's amazing content and people love that stuff. I mean, trust me, there's a hardcore audience for that would much prefer that over like it's so funny because I will break down a tape of whatever, right? And I'll spend, hours looking at it and reviewing the tape and putting it together. Like, or I'll do like an undrafted free agent breakdown and I'll post it on Twitter and it'll get like 32 likes. And then I'll post something like, I fucking love the Packers. I don't know if I can swear. And like 10,000 likes. And it's just like, this is why you don't have hardcore analysis on ESPN and you have people yelling on First Take at each other about, the one you pointed out today of, that they should wait to play the game until Patrick Mahomes is healthy. Like, that's why that crap is on TV, is because people like a lot of that stuff, and the stuff that's, breaking down film with a great deal of minutia, people don't always care about that stuff. So, and again, that it's all to go to say what Packer fans have is amazing because you can get all of it, and each of us kind of plays our part, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, see, like most of my stuff, like that, if I'm ranting, it's mostly because what I'm seeing on my Twitter and like people. And first, when you talk shit, people talk shit back, which
for sure
I respect. I love it all. Like Bears fans, I made so many Bear fan friends because Bear fans are actually kind of cool. Where they're like, I like your shit, I'm gonna talk shit back, and it's kind of receptacle. But like Bucks fans kind of turn me off a little bit because they're like Patriot fans who like turn Buck fans, whatever. I don't want to talk about that. But like, what Cowherd said today, like, just showed like what he is. Because I've had people at work will give me ideas for videos, and they're like, you should say this, and it'd be like some crazy take. Like, I'm not trying to be Skip Bayless. Like, everything I say is kind of just like emotional. Like I read some shit, so I get mad. So most of like my stuff in my truck is like I'm leaving work because I read Twitter at work and I get mad. I don't want to say mad because I'm not like actually, but I get kind of like football razzed up. So I get in my truck and I'll just yell some stuff. And but like, yeah, people like this stuff. But I'm not gonna say shit I don't believe just to get clicks, because I think like what Cowherd said today, he doesn't believe that. Like, dude, no one would think we should cancel the game because I love Patrick Mahomes. I love watching him play. I think he's a baller, and I love all those things. But like, no one's canceling or postponing the game because he got hurt. Like, Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. They didn't shut it down. I saw one tweet that said Bears fans want to cancel the season until Rodgers retires.
Sounds about right. I mean, should probably wait till Bakhtiari gets back healthy then to play the NFC Championship too. Like, let's just wait till next. I don't know what, September, October, till he's fully healthy and ready, and then we can go back and play the NFC Championship against the Bucs. I mean, this is ridiculous. But like you said, it's not even worth bringing that stuff up because it's there for entertainment purposes only.
It's like Kardashians of sports. But let me ask you this real quick before we go, because I don't like talking about off-season stuff when like we're in NFC Championship week. But I saw someone said that Aaron Jones was offered a contract, but he denied it, and they said it was Dabowski that said it, but I went back on his Twitter and I couldn't find it. So like, is that a real thing? Because maybe I just didn't see it.
I didn't see it. I haven't heard it. Doesn't mean that it didn't happen, but I haven't seen anything on that. But I mean, who the hell knows? I mean, it wouldn't shock me if it sounds like, from what I've heard from Jones in the past is that they've wanted to get a deal done. So it wouldn't shock me if there was, just some back and forth between, Gutekunst and his agent. I have no inside information here, so I'm just spitballing out, here and kind of talking about, but I think I would be surprised if there were any conversations at this point, because the last thing you want to do if you're Brian Gutekunst is to start talking contract while your team is in the middle of a playoff run, right? And it's not to say that something didn't happen earlier this season or, maybe prior to the season started, but at this point, like, the worst thing you could have happen is like you make an offer to Aaron Jones and he's offended by it, and now it's affecting his mindset before he's playing against Tampa, right? So I'd be surprised if there was anything recent. The only way there'd be anything recent is if you went to Aaron Jones like, we want to make you the highest paid running back in football, which isn't happening, right? But then you have that conversation. But other than that, I don't see that happening right now.
Yeah. So like, what's floated on Facebook? Because I have a Facebook group. Someone posted it and they said Rob Dabowski tweeted it, that they offered him a top 5 contract, but he turned it down because he wanted more guaranteed money. So what I did, I went right to his Twitter to like find out like if he tweeted that. I didn't see it. I didn't want to call him out and say, oh, it's fake, whatever. But I thought, I got Andy Herman, so I'll ask him. So like, yeah, I agree, because I was like, they wouldn't do that at this moment of time. It would be dumb to like offer that. They would wait till after they win the Super Bowl. But No, hey, I appreciate you taking the time. Andy Herman, let me throw this up here. Pack a Day Podcast. They have so many, if I can get it here. Pack a Day Podcast. They have so many good people. So many good people. Hey, can I get you to say one bad thing about Alex Strofe?
Oh, I don't know that I have like
Alex comes on my. We actually collab. We do a post game show together. Alex is my guy, but I like to talk trash a little bit to him. So like, it's better to talk football with me than Alex probably.
Yeah, no, I mean, you guys are both great. I don't have I haven't worked with Alex enough yet. I think we started doing the podcast on Mondays together, maybe like a few months ago. But I haven't worked with him enough yet to like really know like what he's bad at and to make fun of him for. So I unfortunately don't have any dirt on Alex. One of the lame things about the team that I put together on Pack-A-Day is that they're all freaking awesome. So I don't have too many bad things to say, which is really bad. Like they have, I'm sure, way more bad things to say about me. So if you bring on Alex or Maggie or Dusty or Steve, Sarah, whomever, I'm sure they'll be able to find some stuff on me much easier.
Yeah, because I know the thing about Alex is they say he looks like Harry Potter. So if you want to use that, if you ever want to insult him. I think he likes it, though, so don't tell him that. No, but hey, I appreciate Andy Herman. Everyone, thanks for listening. Pack-A-Day Podcast. He has a YouTube channel. He has, obviously, a podcast. Great contributors. Shout out to Cheesehead TV, all the people that are involved. You guys run Packers Twitter and, like, all the podcast shit. I'm just glad that people actually think that I'm part of it or, like, in the circle. But, hey, I appreciate everyone tuning in.